Chosen ones, have you noticed how quiet it's become now that they realize the cycle is over? How does it feel to know that your strength has shattered their illusions, leaving them to confront the emptiness your absence created? They believed their half-hearted efforts would keep you tethered like a puppet dancing to strings they pulled. But the strings have been severed, leaving their hands empty, grasping at air. You were the force holding everything together, the invisible glue they took for granted. But now you've walked away fully, finally. What they didn't anticipate is that their lack of effort would be the very thing that shattered the illusion. They thought you'd keep showing up, always giving, always mending, always waiting for them to step up. But you've shown them what happens when your patience runs dry. They sit now in the emptiness left by your absence. The silence they used to fill with excuses and manipulations has grown loud, echoing in their mind like a clock ticking down the moments they wasted. They never thought you'd leave, not for real, not for good. But here they are, left to face the ruins of a relationship they thought they controlled. The mask of power they wore now slips away, revealing just how weak they were without your constant forgiveness, your relentless efforts to bridge gaps they never bothered to close. You've closed the door so quietly they almost didn't notice at first, but now they feel the cold seeping in, the kind of cold that cuts deep, straight to the bone. It's not just the absence of your presence, it's the absence of your energy, your care, your spirit that held them up. They were the puppet master only in their mind. The truth is, you were the architect of everything you built. You repaired, you held it all together, and now, like an artist stepping back from a canvas they've grown tired of, you've walked away from what no longer serves you. They feel the disconnection like a punch to the gut. But the most devastating part is that they now know there is no going back. Your decision was final. They thought they had you in their grip, but they were wrong. You've moved on, not out of spite, but because you recognized your worth. And now they are left to reckon with the hollow space where your light once shone. The connection was meant to be transcendent, something that could have lifted both of you to new heights. But their blindness to your value, their refusal to acknowledge the brilliance you brought, led to its painful collapse. You showed up relentlessly, whether in friendship, family ties, or a deeper bond, carrying the weight of their indifference like Atlas, with the world on his shoulders. Every step you took was burdened by their inability to meet you halfway, and yet you persisted, believing the connection was worth saving. But the truth is undeniable now. The sight had to end. For too long you carried the weight of someone who refused to see your worth. They relied on your presence like a shadow relies on light, never realizing that without you, they would be left in darkness. You were the sun in their world, burning brightly, giving warmth while they stood in the shade, taking it all for granted. But now the light has shifted. You've removed yourself from the equation, and they are left cold, grappling with the emptiness your absence has created. This was never about just walking away. It was about growth. Your growth. The ties that once bound you were chains, and now they've shattered like brittle glass. The cycle of effort and disappointment had no place in your future, and in cutting those ties, you freed yourself to soar. The weight they placed on your shoulders was not yours to carry, and now that it's gone, you are lighter than ever. No longer tethered to the ground by their inability to rise with you, they may now realize what they lost, but it's too late. You've stepped beyond the limits of their world, broken free of the burdens they imposed, and discovered the wings you always had. This was never your failure. It was their blindness. You were the one who gave, the one who lifted, the one who believed in what could have been. And now, in this new space, you see the truth. They could never have risen to meet you. The end was painful, but necessary. And in its wake, you are limitless. You are free. Not every connection is meant to last forever, and you know this now with a clarity that cuts through the noise. Some people were placed in your life to ignite change, to challenge your boundaries, and to spur your growth. You serve the same purpose for them. The path you walked together was not in vain. It was the furnace in which your strength was forged. But the time has come to part, and this separation is not a loss, but a necessary step for both of you. You cannot carry them any further. You were the one who planted the seed of their growth, the one who showed them their potential, even if they refused to see it themselves. But no matter how deep the roots, it's not your task to water the soil. You can't drag someone into their awakening. They have to reach that point themselves. To meet their higher self when they are ready, the frustration you felt wishing they would rise, that they would see what you see, is not your burden to bear any longer. You've given them the tools, and now the rest is up to them. You might want to hold on to believe that one day they will catch up to where you are now, but the truth is that releasing them is the most profound act of love and growth you can offer. By letting them go, you allow them the space to either rise to their full potential or continue in the patterns they choose. It's not your role to force them toward the light. Sometimes people need the cold silence of separation to spark their transformation, and even then, that's their journey, not yours. You've done your part, and now your chapter together ends not with bitterness, but with acceptance. They will find their way when they are ready, and if your paths cross again, it will be with a different understanding. For now, you must walk forward untethered by the weight of their unawakened self. If you're ready to step fully into this freedom, to embrace your rise without hesitation, the Obsidian Inner Order, powered by Chosen Code, is waiting for you inside. You'll find others who have walked this path, who know the strength it takes to release those who can't keep up. This isn't just a space for growth. It's where chosen ones come to soar free from any weight that tried to hold them back. You've outgrown what was, and now it's time to step into what you were always meant to be. If you're ready to rise higher with no shadows to dim your light, then the Obsidian Inner Order is where you belong. This is where freedom and power combine, where you'll find others who understand what it means to let go and rise without limit. The link is in the description. The endless merry-go-round of emotional highs and lows, where promises were made only to be broken, is finished. No longer will you be swept up in their dizzying spiral of inconsistency and chaos. Some people cling to patterns that serve them, even if they hinder their growth. But you are no longer the person who waits, hoping for change. You've seen through the illusion, and the clarity you now possess is undeniable. It's not your job to wait for anyone to evolve. Growth is a deeply personal process, one that cannot be forced or accelerated. You've already done more than enough, offering them chances, extending your hand again and again, yet they remain stuck, spinning in their own unresolved turmoil, holding on to that old cycle, hoping they will someday rise to meet you, has only been an anchor weighing you down, preventing you from stepping into the greatness that's been waiting for you all along. The truth is, your attachment to this cycle has been a reflection of your own inner battle, a reluctance to fully claim the expansive power that's always been within you. But now, that's over. You've broken free from the chains of expectation, of waiting for someone else to catch up. No longer hold you. You have no time to remain stagnant. Every day spent in that old rhythm is a day lost to your potential, a delay in your own forward momentum. You are not meant to circle endlessly around the same emotional traps. Now is the time to let go. Release the weight you've carried, the guilt, the hope, the obligation. They are not yours to bear. By moving forward, you are not abandoning anyone. You are choosing yourself, choosing growth, and choosing to walk with clarity and purpose. Letting go doesn't mean you failed or that they did. It simply means that the path you walk requires you to travel lighter, without the burdens of someone else's unfinished journey. The merry-go-round has stopped. Step off and let your feet touch the ground, steady, strong and certain. You are free now to move with the speed and direction that only freedom brings. There is no turning back, and in that truth, you find your power. Chosen ones, it's time to step fully into your new beginning. You've spent long enough in the shadows of the past, carrying the weight of situations that no longer serve you. Your healing has been like a wildfire, burning through the underbrush of old wounds, making way for fresh growth. Each day you're shedding layers of the old you, layers that once held you back. You've emerged stronger, clearer, and more aligned with your purpose than ever before. The emotions that once weighed you down have lost their grip. That heavy fog of doubt and uncertainty, of replaying old conversations and trying to make sense of it all, has lifted you. You no longer feel the pull of what once was, because you finally come to understand that not everything broken is meant to be fixed. You've stopped trying to reconcile, stopped looking for reasons to justify the unbalanced scales you once bore on your back. The burden of carrying others' expectations, emotions and failures has fallen away. There's a stillness now, a clear-headedness that comes when the storm has passed. You've stood in the heart of that storm, winds tearing at everything you once thought was permanent, and yet you remained. What was meant to crumble did, and what remains is pure, unshakable clarity. You are no longer bending to the whims of others, no longer trying to hold together a relationship, a friendship, or a connection that was never yours to salvage alone. The fractures were there all along, but now you see them for what they are. Remind yourself that some things are meant to end, so new things can begin. This is your moment to move with purpose. You've stepped out of the cycle of trying to fix, trying to carry, and trying to please. Now you move forward with the strength of someone who has reclaimed their power. The past no longer dictates your choices. You have released it, and with that release comes the space to create something new, something aligned with who you've become. The weight is gone, and the path before you is wide open. This is your time to walk it with your head held high, clear in your purpose, and ready for whatever comes next. What you once believed to be a solid, unshakable relationship has revealed itself as a lesson, one that was always meant to serve your growth, rather than be a permanent fixture in your life. You invested believing in the connection, in the potential of what it could be, but in truth, it was a mirror meant to show you your own worth. The cracks that appeared weren't flaws in you, but in the structure of something that was never built to last. The purpose of this connection wasn't to endure forever, but to push you beyond what you thought you were capable of. You may have thought you were walking a path of certainty, that this was the relationship or partnership that would anchor you in your purpose, but this connection served a different role. It illuminated the blind spots, the areas where you still needed to grow, to evolve. It tested your boundaries, forced you to reassess what you were willing to accept, and ultimately brought you closer to yourself. Through the disappointment, the frustration, and the eventual clarity, you've emerged more aligned with your true purpose. This wasn't a detour, it was part of the path you needed to walk to become who you are now. The connection showed you the power of releasing. By letting them go, you free yourself from the weight of their expectations, their unspoken promises, and the illusion that they could have been what you needed. In that release, you've gained something far more valuable: freedom. You no longer need to hold space for someone who cannot see your worth. In letting go, you've chosen yourself, and that is the most powerful act of self-love there is. They too are free now, free to choose their own destiny, to rise or remain where they are. But that is no longer your concern. You've done your part. Their growth, their evolution, is no longer tied to you. The lesson has been learned, and you can move forward unburdened, with clearer purpose, and with the understanding that not all connections are meant to last. Some are simply meant to teach. You've learned the lesson, you've released the weight. Now you are free to move forward with your head high and your path illuminated. No matter how deep the bond, you cannot choose their destiny. Every person has the right to their own decisions, their own fate, and no amount of connection or care can change that. You cannot bend their will or force them to rise, even if you have seen their potential, even if you have poured energy into showing them a better way. They still have to decide for themselves. Their path is their own, and you must release the illusion that you have any power over it. They may remain in their low vibrations, clinging to the comfort of distraction and avoidance. That is not your responsibility anymore. You've walked through the fire of transformation, learned the lessons meant for you, and emerged stronger and more healed. But dragging them with you, trying to lift them out of their own choices, only drains you and delays your elevation. They must face the consequences of their actions, their stagnation, or their distractions. You cannot hold their hand through it, and it is not your place to carry them any longer. You've done the work. You've grown beyond what this bond once held you in. You've faced your own shadows, confronted the old wounds, and healed where it matters. The time has come for you to elevate further, to rise into the version of yourself that you've worked so hard to become. But to continue on that path, you must leave behind the weight of trying to control anyone else's fate. You cannot carry the responsibility of someone else's unwillingness to grow. That weight belongs to them alone. Now it's their turn to either rise or fall. The choice is theirs, and it always was. You've given them the tools, the chances, the support, but the work must be their own. It is no longer your role to pull them along. You've grown too much to stay stuck in their cycles, too strong to be held back by their unwillingness. Let them go. Their destiny is not yours to shape, and your path forward does not require their presence. You are free, and now they must find their own way without you pulling them. It's time for you to elevate. Your journey is uniquely yours. You stand in a space where you no longer measure yourself against others, but against the old versions of who you used to be. There is no competition outside of yourself, because you have already outgrown what others cannot see. The only race is between who you are now and who you are destined to become. Every step you take away from the old cycle is not just movement, it's transformation. You're shedding the layers of what once held you back, stepping toward your true purpose with more clarity, power, and conviction than ever before. Each choice you make now pulls you further from the stagnant patterns of the past. Every thought, every decision is another stride forward, distancing yourself from the habits, people, and beliefs that no longer resonate with your growth. That old cycle, filled with endless repetitions of the same lessons, is behind you now. It served its purpose, but its time has passed. With each new step, you are aligning yourself with the higher version of who you are meant to be. The road behind you crumbles with every forward movement, leaving no space to return. Allow God to guide your steps. Trust in the unseen forces that have been shaping your path all along. The challenges, the obstacles, and even the pain were all pieces of the lesson designed to push you into this moment. You didn't come this far to fall back into old ways of thinking, to entertain the same cycles that you've already outgrown. Your connection to your purpose has deepened, and every moment that tested you was meant to refine you, not destroy you. Now you are more prepared than ever for what lies ahead. The lessons you've learned are not just memories. They are the tools you now carry with you. They've sharpened your instincts, strengthened your resilience, and elevated your awareness. You move differently now, with a calm certainty that wasn't there before. The higher version of yourself is not some distant possibility. It's emerging with every step you take. You are stepping into a new era of your life, guided by divine purpose, untouched by the old cycles that once bound you. Keep moving forward. You are not who you once were, and that is your greatest power. You are chosen, and your light is undeniable. Everything you need to overcome, to heal, and to rise is already within you. You don't need external validation or the approval of others, because the power you hold is beyond what anyone else can give. Every word you speak, every decision you make propels you further away from the cycles that once confined you. Those cycles are over now, and a new chapter, one written in your purpose and strength, is unfolding each day. You continue to evolve, shedding the old layers, stepping into the higher version of yourself. You are no longer weighed down by the past or the expectations of others. You are moving forward, driven by the knowledge that your race is not with those around you, but with the outdated version of yourself. The only competition is within. And with every step, you are winning. Speak life into yourself daily. Speak words of positivity, knowing that your path is blessed and your growth is unstoppable. The old chapter is closed, and the new one, full of promise and purpose, is already here. Keep running your race, chosen ones. Your evolution is inevitable, and your power is undeniable. Share your story. Let others know how far you've come, what you've overcome, and where you are headed. Your voice has the power to inspire others who are still finding their way.